Let's make a potholder with the potholder loom. This is an 18 peg loom and we're going to make a 19 peg design for the Blocks and Crosses potholder, which features pierced blocks and Latin crosses. I'm going to show you how to add the 19th row in and also finish it off. This pattern contains written instructions and links to a weaving chart like this one here from Piglet's Portfolio Patterns, and that is licensed under Creative Commons. And I've got the written pattern on our website and we'll be going over that today with you. I think this one's going to look like a really fun clover design, even though it says Blocks and Crosses. So get ready and we're going to make this today. Welcome to GoodKnitKisses. We're all about helping you stitch your love and love your stitches. You can find a detailed chart of this design at Piglet's Potholder Patterns, and that'll also be on our blog. You can click that link below, and the written instructions we have will be there as well. And on the chart, you can see how it's reversible. So it looks like this on one side and like this on the other. I think it very much looks like clovers, so I've chosen the colors I've done today. We've got an 18 peg loom, and all the information for what you need is going to be in that link down below. But let's go over it for a second. So we've got our 18 peg loom, your weaving tool if you need it, a crochet hook for the end, and also our loops. I'm working with color A. This is a light green, and we've got 20 loops, and color B or contrast B is a darker green, and there's 18 loops. So 20 loops of one color and 18 loops of another color. Just make sure they contrast so you can see this fun little pattern. We will have a right and a left-handed video tutorial, so those links will be down in the video description below. Grab your supplies and we will begin. Let's begin by making our warp. We're going to put the vertical part on here to set that up. We're going to begin with contrast or color A and go across on all of the odd number pegs, placing that color. And when you get to the end, you're going to have your 19th peg and you'll find you don't have it. Now, some people, when they make these, they might add in an extra nail in the middle and then they kind of squeeze it in there. I'm going to show you in this pattern how to actually use this column here. So when you get to that one, you're going to place an entire loop across the whole thing. And every time we work the end of the row, we'll still be working those stitches. And I have a technique for how to get it off of your loom, and you kind of work that final in when you are finishing it off. All right, so I've got my 17th peg in color A, and now I'm just going to go across this whole thing for this row here. Don't worry that it's a little bit short on the top and bottom. It's totally fine. All right, so now you're going to grab your contrast B or color B and put it across all of the even pegs that are remaining. And as always in this video, just pause and rewind or fast forward, or you can hit that playback button and speed it up or slow down if you need, if I go too fast or slow. All right, so I have placed all of my warp loops on here, pulling them up to the top so I can get to them. And we will begin here in a moment. Finish that up and pause your video. I'll see you for the first weaving row. With A, we're going to weave over 2, under 2, 4 times. Okay, so over 2 and under 2, 4 times. All right, place this first stitch on here, over the first 2, under the next 2, that's once, over 2, under 2, the second time, over 2, under 2, the third, and over 2, under 2, the fourth time. Make sure to get both strands there from your loops. And now we're going to go over 2, under 1. So we're over these last 2, and we need to go under this one on here. So we're going to pick this up, and we're going to go over those and place this. And then we're going to place our loop back on our 19th peg. So it's technically underneath this one. When we go over on the 19th one, we're just going to simply place it on top. Okay, and that'll keep our sequence going. All right, with B, we're going to, of course, we're going to be alternating colors here. Let me stop for a moment. So we're going to work rows 1 through 8, and they're going to repeat again for rows 9 through 16. So these first 4 rows, 1 through 8, I'm going to show you, and then you can pause your video and come back and work those rows again. And then we were repeating the first 3 rows again. So you'll come back to this section one more time and do these first 3 rows. If you have a hard time with those, the last row or 2, I'm going to show you how I use my crochet hook, especially that row 19. So 17 through 19, you might want to tune back in to what I do at the very bottom. Okay. All right, let's go on with row 2. So with color B, we're going to weave under 3, over 2, under 1, over 2, and we're going to do it twice. And then we just got 3 stitches at the end that we'll deal with. So here we go. The sequence is under 3, going under those 3, placing it. And then we're going to go over 2, under 1, and then over 2, and then we're going to do it again. Under 3, over 2, and under 1, and over 2. And I'm going to mark it, and then we have under 3. So we're going to go under all 3 of these. There we go. Make sure you don't pull this one off, this 19th one. So it's going underneath those. Make sure everything's straight. And make sure in the very beginning to push these all the way up to the top, because we're going to have one more row worked in here. We need to have enough extra room at the bottom. Okay, so we're going to keep shoving these up as tight as we can. Okay, so row 3, we're going to go with A, weave under 1 to start us off, and then we're going to have a repeated area. So, oops, let me put that on 3. There we go. Now we're going to repeat 4 times. We're going to go over 2, under 2, 4 times. So over 2, under 2 once, over 2, under 2 twice, over 2, under 2 a 3rd time, over 2, under 2 a 4th time, and then we have over 2. Don't forget you have this one here, and then you have these. So we're just going to place it on top. See, we haven't touched anything with this 19. We're just going on top. All right, so with B, we're going to do row 4, and we're going to do a repeated section twice. We're going to weave over 1, under 1. I'll go ahead and put that on now. And then over 2 and under 4. So over 2 and then under 4. This is one of the bigger leaps here. So under those 4, and then we're going to do that again. Over 1, under 1, over 2, and then under 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and pull that through. And now over 1, under 1, over 1. So over 1, under 1, and over 1. So it goes over that last one there. Okay, push it all up. Okay, grab A, number 5. We're going to weave over 1, under 2, and that's before our repeat. And now we're going to go, this is a repeated section that we do twice till the end of the row. This is over 3 and under 1 and over 2, under 2. Okay, so we'll do that again. Over 3, under 1, and then over 2, under 2. So this one on the 18th peg, we're going under, and we're going under this one again. So here we go, pushing it forward, giving us room. And now we're ready to go with B for row 6. So all the even rows are going to have this darker color. Okay, row 6 with B, weave, this is our repeated, and this one's one of the easier rows. under 1, over 1 9 times and finish with an under 1. So under, over once, under, over twice, under, over third time, under, over fourth, keep going all the way down. Basically, I'm going under all of my A's. And, oh, dropping that. And make sure to go under that very last stitch on 19. Making sure it fits on the right one. Pull it to the side if you need to see it. Okay. And push it up. It may seem like I'm going way too far up, but once we get down here, you'll be glad you have the extra room now. All right, with 7, I've got 2 more rows in this repeat. So with 7, or on row 7 with A, we're going to do a repeat twice. We're going to go under 2, over 2. Okay, and then under 1, over 3. Over 3, okay. And then we have that repeat, so we go under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, and then we go under 1 and over 3, and then we go under 2, over 1, so under these 2, and then over this last peg. Okay. Row 8 with B, okay, we're going to weave over 1, under 1, and over 1. That's not repeated. So over this one, under the next, and then over. And now we're going to have a repeated section with under 4. So another really long one, under 4 here. And that's going to be repeated here in a minute. So over 2 and under 1 and over 1. Okay, so we're going to repeat that one more time, and there's nothing at the end. So we're going to go under 4, over 2, under 1, and over that last one. Oh, make sure, let's see how I skipped. Let's make sure that that's on there. There we go. Okay, so yours should look like this. And it looks like you got a square here, here, and here. You can kind of barely see it. And this is basically the top part of your cross. It's a Latin cross. Latin cross is short on all sides. It's equal. And so once you repeat these next 3 rows, the first 3 rows of the ones that we're repeating, you'll kind of see this part finish out and get another row of these little squares here. So the next 8 rows, which is rows 9 through 16, are going to be just like we did here. So pause your video here, look at the time, go ahead and go back and do rows 1 through 8 again. And then you're going to go back and do, for rows 17 through 19, you're going to repeat rows 1 through 3. And I'm going to work some of those rows with you. So go ahead and do this part, pause your video, and I'll meet you down at the last few rows. See you in a moment. All right, I've got 2 rows left, and if you need to pause your video and get to that point, go ahead and do that. You can see that I've got all 4 of my Latin crosses, or if you want to call them a plus sign, and then we've got several of our squares already in. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to complete these last 2 rows, which will give us 3 little squares down at the bottom. I've got 1 peg left here, and then I've got this whole line here. All these pegs here are going to represent my 19th row. So we're going to pick up our next color, which is B, and we're going to work another row 2. So I've repeated my rows 1 through 8 twice, and I've gone and done the row 1 again, which is row 17. So that should bring you up to speed. I'm going to work with row B here, use my crochet hook. So you can use this technique anywhere up here. If you've just jumped ahead, that's totally fine. Pause your video where you need. Okay, so we're going to work this one. We're going to weave under the first 3, over 2, under 1, over 2 twice, and then under 3. That's a lot, but let's just go ahead and do these first 3. So I'm going to just pick these up because I need to go under all 3 of them. So kind of work backwards here. Make sure you don't pop off some of these other ones as you go. It's going to be a bit tight. Going to lay this down on the last peg. And then you can actually hold it across here, so you have a little bit more room to play and hold these other things. Okay, we're going to lay these back down in order, the loops from the warp. Okay, and then you can pick up that weave loop here, and then we're going to go over 2, under 1. Okay, just lay this across and replace the warp. Okay, so we've gone under 3, over 2, under 1, and then we're going to go over 2, which is right here, and then we're going to repeat that just one more time, and then the last 3 we're going under. So these next 3 here we're going under, and then we're going to go over 2 and under 1. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up this one. I'm going to go under, making sure to skip these next 2, and then we're going to go under these 3. So it's kind of nice to get as many as I can at the same time, being careful that you're not going to pull up these other stitches here. And then go ahead and place this down here, and then replace your warp loops back down. There we go. Okay. And then my repeat, after I gone over under that 1 there, you're going over 2, and then we've got 3 at the very end here that we're going underneath. So you can pick this one up. It's really going to go nowhere. It's not going to mess anything up. So I can just grab these 2 here easily, and then I'm going to set this down. There we go. And replace these. These are the warps. Don't lose it. And then I can set this one back down on top of it. Okay, there's that. And it's now going under that very last one. And it looks like you're done. You're not quite. And we're going to go on this last one here. And this one we're going to have to lift up. Not every other one, but this is how it goes. So this is row 3. And so we're going to be weaving under 1, over 2, under 2. So like the under 1 is first, and then we have a repeat 4 times of over 2, under 2. So under 1 is this very first one here. So I'm just going to place it down. Go ahead and put that warp back on. Okay, so this is how it works. So we've got under 1, and then we're going over 2. So we're just going to set them right down, and then we're going under these 2. So here, just put your loop right here. We're going to pick these up. You can do it with your hook if it's easier. Like that. And set it on top. And actually we're going to go over these next 2. So just do that. And now replace them back down. Oof. There we go. And now we're going to go under these next 2. So pick those up. And actually you can skip over. So these are 2, the one I'm going to pick up. I'm going to skip these. I'm going to go under here. So I can actually do this. I'm picking up 1, 2, skipping 2, come here, 3, and 4, and then lay down on all of these. There we go. And now replace. It's a little fiddly. It's fine. All right, so you can see I have my loop all the way down to here. So let me look back at my repeat. I went under this one, and then I went over 2, under 2, and we're gonna do it 4 times. So I've gone once, twice, and then 3 times. I gotta do it 1 more time. So I'm going over these 2, so that gets that part. Okay, so I'm just placing them up and over. I'm gonna go underneath these 2, And then we're going over the last two. So just pick these up. And go all the way down and place it. And I went ahead and placed it on top of this loop over here just to remind myself that goes on that row there over. Okay, here we go. So we're done here. Go ahead and get to this point, pause your video, and I'll meet you back up for beginning your bind off. All right, we're not quite ready to bind off because we have this big long loop on the side here and down here on the bottom. So this is our warp that's left and our weave that's left. We're gonna come over on the side here and gonna ignore the first and last pegs on all of these, and you'll see why when we start our actual bind off. But this part here is actually supposed to represent a peg right here that what we're missing. So we're going to ignore this very first one, but if we examine our pegs, you can see that this part actually needs to go over that last area of stitches here. It's supposed to go over here on this first one and the second one. So if we want to have it go over, we're going to have to put our loop behind the peg. And then this next one here and the one below it, you can see that half of this loop is hiding underneath. So that means that these two need to have the loop go underneath this loop here. Okay, you're going to do that for all of these down here so that when we get to our bind off, you only see one loop on all of these pegs except for the first and last one. So let's do that now. So ignoring this first one, the second one, the loop needs to go behind the peg. So that's pretty simple. Just slip it there. And then these next two, numbers 3 and 4, you're going to pick up and you're going to place the loop behind the peg. 1, 2. And actually the next two need to go on top, so we can just let those fall. Okay, go ahead and let this come back on the front here, because the next two down, way down here are going to be, let's see, this was number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 7 and 8 is going to go underneath. So we're going to leave that for now. Go ahead and replace these that I've already got on my crochet hook. Okay, so now coming down here, you can see that I need to go under these two. So we're going to pick them up, 1, 2, okay. And staring at it, you can see that I need to go over the next two, and then I need to go under these two. So you could go ahead and pick these up that you have to go underneath, and go ahead and just flip all those over, okay? And flip them all until you have to go back under again, so you can see they're down here. Okay, go ahead and replace these. If you're not sure, just examine your pot holder, and you can do this on other pot holders that require an extra line. Now, if you didn't want to do the 19th row, you can leave that off, but it makes it not symmetrical, and this one will look really nice being very symmetrical, especially if you want to put it in something where you're stitching multiple of them together. Otherwise, it's going to look offset. Okay, so I'm going to come back down here. I have these two to go under, so we're going to pick them up. 1, 2, and flip this over, and this next one needs to go over and replace. Oop, about to drop it. There we go. Okay, and then this last one, we're going to leave it, and it looks like it has 3 on here. Just leave it for now. Okay, we're going to turn around and do this bottom row here, same where it was before. This is the 19th. And leave this first peg alone. On this next one, it looks like it needs to go under on a number 2 and 3 peg, and then skip down here to these two. So you can go ahead and lift up all 4 of those. Careful to skip the ones that you're supposed to go over them. Okay. And you're just simply popping that over. Make sure to leave that first one where it looks like it has another loop on it. All right, come down here. I need to go under these two, skip 2, and go underneath these two. stop that. Perfect. And come down here, and these need to go over, and we're going to leave that very last peg with it on there. You can see that this loop needs to go on the bottom, and this one here goes on top, and we're going to leave that for now. Pause your video, make sure you get all that done, and we're going to meet back up here for the actual bind off. See you in a moment. Ready for bind off. If you've paid attention to my videos you've seen on here before, I always start all the way down here and I go one stitch from the corner so I know where I began, and it's just the way I do it. You can do it your way if you'd like. So we're going to come around here, and you can see that I have 2 stitches on this corner peg here. Okay, so technically the top one is actually this 1 stitch in here. So if I lift it up and come around, it's actually this corner stitch. So the very first stitch I normally would do would be the next stitch over here. So my first stitch to touch is going to be this one, and then it's going to be this one here. So I can kind of just hold this and get it ready and don't touch it just yet, or I can put it directly on top here, which is much easier. See how that works? We're going to come down here and get the very first stitch that's on my loom. If I can get in there. There we go. There's the first stitch on that corner. Now we're going to pick up this 19th and we're going to pull it on through. That's the first one on the warp. Then we're going to come back to this corner peg again, because that's actually the 18th warp. Pick that up and loop it through. And then now we're going to work our way all the way around. Okay. And then come to this point here. So keep going down. I'm going to do a few and then pause, and I'll meet you a few stitches from the corner here. All right. All right, I'll see you at that corner. Okay, so we've got a few stitches left, and I'm going to go here, pull through, and I've got 1 stitch left here. Keep in mind that's the 18th row. Pull through, and now if you remember, the one on the top here is actually, and it's 1 stitch over, but it's actually my 19th row here. Okay, so that's the 19th weave, you know, the part's going across. We're going to pull that through, and now you're ready to begin this 19th row. Truly, you're going to pick up, I don't know if I said the right numbers, but anyway, I just pulled through my 18th, and now this is my 19th. Okay, so we're going to pull through and then keep going on all these warp that we had. Finish it off. And then when we come down to the end, you're going to have 3 stitches on a few of these, and it might be a little confusing. So pause your video or speed up or slow down as you need. I'll just keep going. For those of y'all that don't like that I talk so much, sorry, not sorry. Some people like it. I'm trying to teach something instead of not be like the coolest person ever and have like the coolest, best videos, but just for people who like to have that extra information. That's just how I do it. Okay. I promise I'll turn this back around to how you're used to it. Okay, let me turn this so you can really see it. Okay, we have one last area to finish off. The hardest part is this one here. So remember, this top part was the 19th row, and it really needs to go across. So I picked this up, and I'm just going to move it onto the very first peg down here. I'm going to do this one first. So I'm going to pick up this last peg on here and pull through. I'm trying to do this left-handed. Actually, if you're on the left-hand video, it looks like I'm doing right-handed. Okay, so now I have this one done, and then this line was the one that was going across, and it actually has to go over this line here. So let me see this one. I'm gonna pick it up and hold it for a second. And then this one here is your warp. So the warp needs to actually go under this one. So I can lay it down here, and this one goes across. So it actually goes on this side. See how they crisscross now? So the 19th that was like this needs to go down here, and the 19th that was this way needs to go across. So I'm just going to put it on this last peg. So really, the one I've been holding that was on the last peg, now I can pick up this one and go through. Oh, that's pulling through again. I'm only doing it with the wrong hand because I'm turned around. I want you to be able to see it clearly, like the sequence. You can do it with whatever hand works for you. Okay, now I'm ready to turn the corner. Okay, so this one is going on this side, and it's really the next one to go before the one down on the bottom. So we're going to pull through because they should be the same color. So if you look at the chart, you can see that the very 19th and 19th are going to be the same lighter color A. So you're pulling through A through A. Okay, there we go. And then we're going up, and then it should be your color B next that you're going to pick up and put on here and pull through. Okay, so now that I've gone in that sequence, you can see that we just go through all the way to the end, and it shouldn't be any doubled up pegs. We're just going to keep pulling through just as normal. Oh, I'm gonna have to trim that. There we go. Okay, so pause your video, meet me for the very last one, and I'll show you how I weave that through and finish it off. Okay, so I pulled it off. I have 2 loops left. I'm gonna pull it on through, and then I'm gonna go to the color over on the other side. Let's see, I pulled through this one here, which technically is the second row, and then I want to go through the lighter color down here on this corner. This is actually it here, and that's actually the corner color. This A, that's actually the very first row that went across. And then when I go to, so like this one is this one here. And then, sorry, you can hear my dogs. And then this one here is actually this corner here. This is what I normally do. I do corner to corner again and pull through. So I'm pulling through same over same, and it just completes this look a little bit better. And before I pull it all the way through and get my loop woven through the back, I like to pull on this and kind of hand block it, so I don't pull that loop out when I'm almost finished here. Once I weave this in, if I start tugging on it, it could pull the loop through, so I try and kind of get that done before I do it. Okay, I don't know if I said that funny. Anyway, there's that loop there. If I start pulling on it now, it's fine. Okay, so I take that loop and I go to the back, and I'm just going to pull it through another loop, and then pull through another, trying to get it in there nice and tight, and really really secure inside several loops if I can. Seems really tight now, but once I get in here, it's really gonna stay secure. Here we go. That should be enough. Okay, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I just love it. It looks like 4-leaf clovers to me. That's really what it looks like with these colors in here. So you can see a little bit of that color peeking through on these little squares, you know, and then you've got these little crosses here, and then that's what the reverse looks like. I love it. I hope you enjoyed it. This one really shows this little color piercing through on this cross in the middle. So this would be a really good one by itself or sewn together with multiple colors. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me here at GoodKnitKisses for Blocks and Crosses Potholder. Have a great day. Happy knitting, crochet, and check out more of our potholder videos listed down below. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us today, where we help you stitch your love and love your stitches. See you again soon.